What if the most terrifying thing about death is not the unknown but the act of living with its inevitable shadow? For millennia, humanity has struggled with the deep dread of mortality. This fear, both universal and personal, has shaped cultures, philosophies, and societies in ways we rarely see. It is not just the finality of death that troubles us but the awareness of its constant presence, quietly influencing our choices, desires, and dreams. The ancient Greeks spoke of Thanatos, the god of death, always waiting just beyond the horizon. In Eastern traditions, life and death are seen as an eternal dance, a reminder that all that lives must one day pass away. But what if our fear of death is not natural alone? What if it is not death itself but how we build our world to avoid it, that truly disturbs us? Our silence about it, our rituals that hide it, our endless escapes into wealth, fame, or technology are all ways of pretending that death is not near. When we understand this fear, we begin to understand life itself. How humanity has viewed death through the ages. In the earliest cultures, death was seen as a transition into another realm. The ancient Egyptians believed it was a continuation, not an end. Their pyramids and tombs were gateways to the afterlife, and rituals ensured safe passage for the soul. The Greeks and Romans personified death as a ruler of the underworld. Socrates saw it as either a peaceful sleep or a passage to higher existence. The Romans sought immortality through legacy, believing that to be remembered was to live on. During the medieval era, death became a moment of judgment. Christianity and other faiths introduced heaven and hell, filling people with fear and guilt. Death was no longer a passage but a test. By the Enlightenment, science and reason reframed death as a natural process, not divine punishment. Yet the fear did not fade, it only changed form. Today we live in a secular age, but death still holds us. The awareness of mortality shapes our emotions, our ambitions, and even the small choices we make each day. Ernest Becker and the Psychology of Denial. Ernest Becker, in The Denial of Death, wrote that our awareness of mortality fuels most of our inner struggles. Because this awareness is unbearable, we create defenses. We chase legacy, success, and even immortality to escape the truth. His work inspired terror management theory, which says that our beliefs and self-esteem act as shields against death anxiety. We cling to religion, to power, to beauty because they promise that we matter beyond our brief lives. When people are reminded of death, they often double down on beliefs, seek validation, or chase fame. Even consumerism becomes a grasp at immortality, as if possessions could outlast the body. But none of these truly quiet the fear. They only show how deeply it runs through us all. Death in modern culture. In the modern world, death is both everywhere and hidden. We see it sensationalized in media but rarely as something natural. Hollywood turns death into shock and spectacle. Horror makes it monstrous while dramas make it tragic. Rarely do we see it as peaceful or meaningful. Real death has been sanitized. Hospitals and funeral homes keep it out of sight. We hide aging, avoid talking about mortality, and distance ourselves from those near the end. This avoidance leaves us unprepared when death finally reaches us. It returns suddenly, raw, and impossible to ignore. The fear of the unknown. What happens after we die? This question haunts every age and culture. In the East, death is part of an endless cycle of birth, karma, and renewal. In the West, heaven and hell offer moral reward and punishment. Atheists see death as final, a return to nothingness. Each view offers both comfort and fear. Whether we believe in rebirth, judgment, or silence, we are still driven by uncertainty. We crave meaning and control, but death allows neither. How the fear of death shapes modern society. Our civilization is built around escaping death. Healthcare and technology promise longer life. From anti-aging products to life extension research and digital consciousness, our obsession with defeating death drives whole industries. Consumerism offers another escape. Advertisements promise youth, beauty, and success as if they could buy eternity. Yet the more we consume, the more empty we feel because death remains untouched. Politics also uses death's shadow. Leaders exploit fear to justify wars and power. Nationalism thrives on the promise of protection from threats. Even love and family are shaped by this fear. We create art, children, and memories so that something of us will endure. We long to be remembered, to leave behind proof that we were here. Learning to face death. Not all traditions flee from death. Some teach us to meet it directly. Socrates accepted death calmly, seeing it as either a peaceful sleep or a passage to truth. His acceptance turned death from an enemy into a release. Buddhism views death as part of the endless cycle of existence. By meditating on impermanence, one learns to let go of fear. Stoicism teaches that death is beyond our control and therefore not to be feared. By remembering mortality, Stoics remind themselves to live fully and wisely now. All these teachings share one truth: acceptance of death brings peace. The meaning within mortality. Death is not just the end of life. It gives life its depth and urgency. Without it, there would be no reason to cherish the present moment, to love deeply, or to act with purpose. The question is not how to avoid death but how to live with it. If we stopped fearing death, how would we live? What would we value? What would we let go of? Perhaps freedom comes not from conquering death but from embracing it. When we accept it as part of life's rhythm, every moment becomes more vivid, every breath more real. By confronting death, we finally learn how to live. If this reflection spoke to you, share it with someone who avoids the topic of death.